Wade and Wade reacts.
Before we start this, I want to say shout out to all the people, the 20-something people that have been watching our review of the Acolyte every week as we try to get through this show, though it's been hard. So, hey, here we are. Let's get into this review.
Episode 6 took way too long to get into the meat of episode 6's plot. Man, they did everything under the sun just to come around to something so simple that this really could have been handled in the first 5 minutes of the show. The Acolyte series is a show that wastes time, doing things that could be done in a short period of time. They don't utilize the time that they're given properly. You're given 35 minutes. Why is the whole show OSHA looking for the Sith on this unknown planet? That's the actual name of the planet, unknown planet. And then you got Soul trying to contact the Jedi and tell them what happened on the planet where they faced the Sith and the Jedi got cut down. But then once the Jedi contact him and say, hey, we're coming to your location, he hits warp speed into another section of the galaxy to protect May from the Jedi, because I think he's going to try to convert her over to the light side. But those two things, May being persuaded by Master Soul, or Master Soul attempting to persuade May to the light side, and the Sith, I forget his name, trying to persuade OSHA over to his side, over to his philosophy of the Force. That's what the whole show circled back to. That could have been handled in the first, if not the first 5 minutes, most definitely in the first 15 minutes, and they could have gone on to more action-packed parts of the plot. To me, it was a complete waste of time, and they have to do better with managing the time that they're given.
Yeah, I got one word for this episode: boring. Why did this show take so long to do nothing? What did we learn in this episode? Anything new besides cortosis that can block the Force, but at the same time stop the Force? Only you're in the helmet with the Force, but I can't penetrate the helmet with, like, bro, what is going on with this? He's the Magneto of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this is trash. Another thing too, why come this couldn't be connected to the last episode? Last episode was like 23 minutes. This episode 35 minutes.
Yeah.
You link both of them together, you got a full-length episode.
Yeah, you got a 55-minute show.
Yeah, and then this is a bunch of stupid stuff happening. They spent too much time on the ship with Soul and May. Didn't get anything accomplished. We had a couple of cartoony type of interactions with the little sniffing guy. I don't even know his name. It's not even working.
Yeah, space groundhog or whatever.
Yeah, he came out of the tunnel instead of alerting Soul that, hey, this is not OSHA, this is May. He came out, he sniffed around, he did a bunch of nothing, wasted footage and time on him. Then he had a little fight with her, it was trash. At the end, Soul, we just end up pinning her down on a bed talking about our rest bed, whatever it was. Now you're gonna listen to me. Really don't care about that.
Yeah.
This episode was nothing but a waste of time. I mean, it was the OSHA walked around this little island, planet, just as a single island, and
it was called Unknown Planet too.
It's this episode should have been called, what was this episode called? Matter of fact, I can't even remember, but it should have been called The Wash Up, because that's about the only thing that happened. And we saw Darth Tethys or Smilo Ren, whatever you want to call him. He took a bath.
That's all.
And he cooked some food, and May went, and OSHA went back and forth with him, a little bit of dialogue, which it didn't give us anything, nothing new. We learned nothing from this episode.
Coming from episode 5, episode 6 should have been an episode at least started by some action, or at least the plot should have been interesting enough to maintain the audience's attention. There should have been something going on. If it wasn't action, the plot should have been exciting. This was boring all the way throughout. And if you're the kind of person that needs action to stay awake, you need the plot to be interesting for you to stay awake and watch it, this show is not for you. And if you need some sleep, man, you turn episode 6 on, you'll be knocked out through the rest of the night.
And this is what I don't understand about the show. episode 1 and 2 came out, everybody was like, okay, this show is decent. They still weren't in love with it, but it was decent. 3 came out, episode 3, that flashback knocked the episode off its track. 4 came out, everybody's, man, this trash. They walked around. They didn't do nothing but walk around. The 5th episode came back on, had that big lightsaber fight, which lasted almost the whole episode, and people were back on board. Even the people that was talking trash, it was like, hey, this is the best of the worst of all 5 episodes. I like this one. And then 6 came and just snatched the momentum away from this show. I don't understand why you would do that when you have a show that's building momentum. That first half that they had when there was nothing happening, this was this episode, which was this episode, she put the helmet on, that shouldn't have went off right there. That should have just been the first half.
Exactly.
The next half of the episode should have been Soul, whatever the episode 7 is gonna be, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be that flashback. That's what this episode should have been. And it seems like they said, we need 8 episodes. And the creators of the show was like, we don't have enough material for 8 episodes. Maybe we have enough material for 5 or 6 episodes. And so they start splitting episodes in half because this seems incomplete. And even the cliffhanger with Osha putting on the helmet and just breathing was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was a super lackluster ending to an episode that was already in the depths of hell when it comes to whackness. I mean, how did you think that would be a compelling ending? How did you think that would get people to say, oh, I want to see episode 7? Man, this makes me want to hang up on the Acolyte. Like, man, get this out of here. But since we're content creators, we're going to watch the rest of it. I am kind of interested in seeing what else happens, but I don't think they can do too much to clean up this mess in 2 episodes. What can you really do to bring this series to a finale or a close? What can they work with?
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm interested in to see how they wrap it up. And going back to taking the momentum, no character in this show has a sense of urgency. Everybody just, Master Soul and May was playing around in the ship, and the guy, they was on the ship so long that the evil villain and Osha was able to make it to the planet and do a lot of different things before Soul finally made a decision to take off and try to get her back.
Yeah, Soul was playing this game really to waste the audience's time because, like you said, I don't believe they had enough material to actually make this an 8-episode season. So the whole time, Soul is acting like he doesn't know that May, or he doesn't know that May is behaving or acting like she's Osha. Why waste time doing that when you know from the beginning that that's May and not Osha? Why waste time doing that? He wasted like 15 minutes acting like she was Osha. Telling her, oh, you remember your train. Like, don't waste time with that. That's garbage.
And good writing is like this. You don't know the character doesn't know what's going on, but you know a little bit of what's going on. They didn't even give us a little bit. We don't know what's going on because what is Soul's motivation? Why did he get on the ship? Because first he tried to contact the Jedi. The Jedi contacted him, hey, Soul, give us your location. He took off. What's the purpose of that?
Exactly.
And then the last episode, May she was pretending to be Osha, told Soul, I don't know where my sister is. Wait, hold on, wait a minute. I can't, my whole mission was to come down here to apprehend Osha. And May, and I'm assuming that they thought that the dark side user was killed by the Beatles. Why not search for her? Why just leave the planet?
That's facts. I didn't even think of that because I was that much out of it when it comes to episode 6. But that's true. They could have gone back to the planet, or matter of fact, they should have never left. Yeah. They should have stayed on the planet since he knew that May was not Osha, but May was trying to impersonate Osha. He shouldn't have wasted time getting on that ship. That didn't make any type of sense whatsoever. What he should have done really was try to track down the Sith Lord and see where he may have taken Osha. And he should have interrogated May so that she could spill the information as to where the Sith Lord's location and whereabouts.
Yeah, probe her mind like he did in the first episode to that prisoner they had.
And that would have made for a much more interesting plot, and it would have made sense for Soul to divert the attention of the Jedi because he wants that Sith Lord for himself. Or maybe he has to reconcile some things between him and that guy since they know each other based on the information we got from both of them on episode 5.
Yeah, and that way, if he interrogated her through the Force, they could have had some type of Force visions and things like that, which could have gave us more of a backstory into who May is, because this season's on episode 6, 2 more episodes left, and May is not even a character. So from a scale of whack to masterpiece, where do you rank this?
Episode 6 was whack. It was terrible. Man, this was replete with scenes that almost put me to sleep. They need to do better. They only have 2 episodes in order to bring this series, this season to a close. I don't understand how they can finalize this series in an interesting way, in a way that'll make people say, I enjoyed it. At least say I enjoyed it. Let alone say, man, this was great. Nobody's gonna say that. But how can they wrap this up? That's the only thing I'm interested in, because they've given us some decent episodes, some horrible episodes that this level of horribleness shouldn't even exist in cinema. Then they gave us episode 5, which was the peak of the Acolyte series. Then now episode 6. It's like, what are y'all? The writing team is terrible.
Yeah, they're only good when they're doing action. When a plane, a ship is crashing, somebody's just hand-to-hand or lightsaber. That's the only time the show has any life to it. Like you said, this is whack. It's 3 and 3 for me. The first 2 episodes and episode 5 were cool. Just decent. One great, one's a good TV. 3, 4, and 6 were whack. Horrible. This show, they're gonna have to step their game up. Disney Plus as a whole, when it comes to Marvel, when it comes to DC, not DC, because of Marvel, when it comes to Star Wars, garbage. Everything, except for a few things. Animation is where they really do good. And they're gonna have to get rid of these people that have been in TV for a long time, if that's what they, because the people that have been in TV for a long time, they're tired. They don't have, they're all out of ideas. It's time for some new blood, some fresh faces. And every time somebody's gonna do a Star Wars project, they always say, I'm a fan of Star Wars. If that's the case, get rid of the fans.
Exactly. And I meant to say this earlier, but all Star Wars writers should take notes from the first season or even the second season of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, from the first episode all the way to the last, was moving. And it gave the viewer the sense of adventure in every minute of the episode. The only way you can do that is to have good writers that know how to push the story forward. And you have to, like you said, take those old style TV writers out of the writer's room. They don't know how to make an episode move and feel exciting. They have to have those episodes that drag. And nobody wants to see that anymore, especially in a franchise that is based on action. You got to do better.
Yeah, get rid of the old style showrunners, TV writers, directors, get rid of them, and get rid of the fans too. Every time somebody from Star Wars say, I'm a fan of Star Wars, to me, that's a red flag.
Hey, now it seems the same to me too. Because every time they say they're a fan, they do the things that a fan would not do. They do the things that are totally contradictory to what a fan would produce.
Yeah, and it makes sense too, because the viewers always say this is fan fiction.
Yeah.
But hey, that's been our review. Like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, and share, and we're out of here.
Peace.